Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation of 4 simple steps to help you become a consistent trader. Now in today's webinar, I'm going to show you how simple it is to actually become consistent using a special technique and a special process that we have specifically designed for you on our new platform. For example, let's look at this chart right here, okay, an end tap. Now someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, we go back and we see that we had a really nice run up. And for the last month or two, we've been going basically sideways. So how does a trader come to make his decisions? Usually what a trader does, and I know myself from past experience, is that you rely on an outside source to tell you what to do. Because most traders don't like to make their own decisions, because if you fail, you're going to have to blame yourself and take responsibility. So the easiest thing to do is to pay for some signal service or to pay thousands of dollars for some great system that tells you what to buy or what to sell, or to go to a chat room or a trading room to have someone tell you what to do. Now, let's just say in this instance, the chat room told you that, well, we like to study a lot of what the institutions are doing. And the institutions have been selling right here. So this is major resistance. So if anything, you should be actually exiting this stock or looking to sell to go short, because there's just too much resistance here, because all the institutions, that's the big money, is selling, so therefore you want to be selling with them, right? Now that's conventional wisdom. That's the way most traders are taught. In fact, that's the way I was taught as well. Guess what? There's absolutely no consistency in trading that way, because these traders, even though they have millions and billions of dollars behind them, have no better chances for consistency than you do if you're following these things. The best thing to do is to listen to the market. Now the technique I'm going to be sharing with you today, this simple 4-step process, actually would have said, forget about that resistance, forget about all these benchmarks and things that are supposed to tell you what the market's going to do. Just listen to the market. The market actually said it wanted to go higher. Had you taken advantage of this, well, potentially you may have been able to capture 10 points in the next 3 weeks. So with today's process, I'm going to show you how simple it is, especially because we've designed this to work perfectly on our new platform. That's the PTS Primo charts, PTS standing for Pro Trader Strategies. It took me over a year to develop this with Pro Trader Strategies. We've put our hard work into it, our blood, sweat, and tears, and we think we've really finalized it to make it the trading educational portal that you've been searching for. We've taken everything that I've accumulated in my 40 years of trading so that it's just simple. It's one click away, and you'll see in just a few moments just how simple it is. So, as you can see, this promises to be a great educational presentation. Welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading, and I've been trading for roughly 40 years now. I started out my trading career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. A specialist simply made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you wanted to buy or sell a particular stock, you had to go to the trader who specialized in that. Well, I made markets during the crash of 1987 when the market was just literally falling out of bed. And even though it was only down 500 or 600 points that day, that would be comparable to a market being down around 4,000 points today. Okay, so you can imagine trying to make an orderly market when the market's down 4,000 points. Now, after I left the floor in the mid-90s, about 7 or 8 years after the crash, I began to trade my own account to manage money, and really got into teaching roughly about 8 years ago. So I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, where all we do is teach and educate our members around the world in over 110 countries and in virtually every state in the United States, all of the different techniques and strategies I've accumulated along the way, but mainly only the things that have shown consistency. Okay? Now, a lot of the things I know you trade with, you've been told, and conventional wisdom tells us that they're supposed to work, but trust me, I probably was trading those same things a good 4 decades ago, and if they didn't work for me then, I'm sure there's not much higher levels of consistency now. So what we teach are the things that have actually sustained me, so that I've been able to trade for 4 decades now, and hopefully they'll be able to do that with you today. So this promises to be a great educational presentation. It'll start in just a few moments, but before we do, we are required by law to first start up by showing you our disclaimer. So please take a moment to view it. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results today using this 4-step technique, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And the results I do show are all examples for educational purposes only. Excuse me. Now, having said that and having looked at our disclaimer, I would also like to take this time to invite all of you to join us on Twitter. Every day I post different information, anywhere from little bits of wisdom I've accumulated along the way to actual signals that our strategies have generated. In fact, I posted some great signals that were generated in Bitcoin just this past month. So I know there's a lot of interest in that lately. All of our methods, all of our techniques, all of our teachings can be applied to virtually any market, any time frame. So it doesn't matter if you don't trade stocks, if you trade futures, if you trade Forex, currency pairs, it makes no difference. That's the beauty of what we teach. Everything can be applied to any market, any direction, and any time frame. So feel free to follow us on Twitter. Okay, so as I stated, we are all about educating you. That's why we are simply an educational company. We're different from all the other presenters that you may have gone to, in that we don't have some master system that we promises to produce thousands and thousands of percent going back 20 years. We don't believe in that, because once again, all that does is take you out of the game and make you have to rely on someone to tell you how to trade. Whereas a teacher doesn't trade for you, he teaches you how to trade. So that's where we differ from other companies, in that we're not issuing you some perfect strategy or system that you must trade. We give you all the different variables, all the different benchmarks and formats for strategies, and then work with you and mentor you so that you can decide how you want to trade it, aggressively, conservatively. If you only want to trade straight up markets, if you only want to trade straight down markets, it makes no difference. We share with you all the different variables that I have accumulated in my 4 decades of trading, and then work with you hand by hand. So as you can see here, my goal is not to trade for you. My goal is to simply teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. This is the same edge that turned my trading around when I was struggling 40 years ago. Hopefully it will be able to turn your trading around as well. Now, since this is a class, an educational class, I do want to take each and every one of your questions, but if we stop for every slide to ask a question the way so many other webinars do, we may be here for a good 2 or 3 hours. So I don't want to take you away that much longer from your daily trading here. So let's kindly wait till the very end. We have a good crowd here today. Let's wait till the very end of today's class to ask any questions. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them. And if you happen to have a question after we've completed, don't worry, you'll have an email address where you can ask questions as well, okay? So if you happen to join us late, we'll get to questions at the very end of the presentation. All right, so let's begin. And the strategy we're going to be talking about today is one I've discussed before. It is probably the best strategy in terms of consistency that I've ever traded. I was first taught about this strategy on the floor some 4 decades ago, and I've been using it on a daily basis in whatever I decide to trade in some capacity for 4 decades now. So it's a great, great strategy. Some of the highlights of this strategy is it's basically for all traders, from beginners to advanced. We have hedge fund traders trading this. We also have people that just started trading last week trading this. You see, everyone at Specialist Trading gets the same basic format, regardless of your experience or how long you've been trading, and then we work out from there. So if you've been trading 30 years and you say, okay, Steve, I like to trade 10 times a day, great. We format it and give you all the different variables so that you can do that. If you're the type of trader that says, no, Steve, I'm a swing trader, I only want to take 1 or 2 trades a week or maybe a month, great, we show you how to do that as well. It was designed for traders looking to catch quick momentum moves, because when I first started trading it on the floor, I was in and out of a trade in 2 or 3 minutes. But now with the different variables, high-speed computers and programmers, we have different ways in which to stay in the trade. You can stay in a trade a day, a week, a month, a year if you'd like. Its intensity level is very moderate, right in the middle. It's a 2 level, with 1 being the most intense and 3 being the most relaxed. It only uses 1 indicator. I'm going to share with you what that is today. Remember, this strategy can be applied to any time frame, any direction, and any market. So I'm going to kind of have a bias of stock examples today, but remember, it can be applied to the futures, currency pairs. It can be applied to the Bitcoin. It can be applied to commodities, as well as E-mini trading. It makes no difference. It makes no difference what time frame as well. Now, if you are a member of this course, you're going to receive automatic buy and sell indications, but these are for educational purposes only. Remember, it makes no use for us to simply force feed you signals. We don't believe in that. That would take us out of our philosophy. Our philosophy is to teach you so that you can make your own decisions. So we give you these buy and sell arrows simply for you to check your work, so that you know what to look for, and you can see if a signal has been generated. Then you can apply the up and down arrows to see if they're in line with your synopsis. Now remember, nothing works 100% of the time, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every signal is a winner. The beauty of what we teach and what we mentor our students is in the consistency in all these methods have. In other words, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We know that we will have small losses from time to time. Don't let anyone ever tell you that it's wrong to have a loss. It's okay. What's wrong is when you don't have a method that's able to recoup that loss, and most of the times rather quickly. You don't want to be waiting 2 months to be able to make back that loss you had one day. You want to have a methodology that's able to recoup it, and hopefully can do it sooner than later. That's what we have with all of our methods. All right, so that's a little bit of the background strategy for some of the highlights. Let's begin. All right, let's share with you this process, and we're to take it step by step just to show you how simple it is. And remember, this is all going to be done with the aid of the new platform. That's our PTS Primo charting platform. All right, step 1. Obviously, you want to choose the market you're interested in buying, because we're going to be looking at buy setups right off the bat. Remember, we're going to start off with a bias with stocks, but this can be currency pairs, futures. It makes no difference. Let's just say we're a stock trader and our stock is NTAP that we were talking about earlier. Now, looking back in hindsight, yeah, it's easy to see that we would have loved to have bought this, but how could we have known in advance to buy this? Well, first thing we do is click on our buy sell line. That's step number 2. Click on the buy sell line in the upper green strategy tab. So once again, we go back to the platform. Here's the green strategy tab here with all our strategies and techniques. We click on the very first one, which is buy sell line. Okay? And once that happens, you will get a drop down menu. All right? Now the buy sell line is the only tool you're going to be using with this strategy because it's based on a pattern that I can't divulge what it is right now, but it's based off a specific pattern that you look for, and we teach you what to look for and mentor you so that ultimately you'll be able to spot it in an instant. But the indicator that we do need is the buy sell line. And what is the buy sell line? It's the 50-period moving average. That's all it is. But let me show you a great new feature we have for determining how to apply the buy sell line. So once you click on that tab, this drop-down menu will appear, and all you have to do is click on our new feature, which is called the fluid feature. Once you do that, this is the way your screen will appear. Now you can always go back to the old style screen, but you just have to simply click this off. But this is what we want. The screen will either be colored background or be cut in half, and it'll be colored blue or red. Now what does this mean? Well, if you see price, as you see the price bars here, the majority of them are with a blue background, that's telling you that's the buy zone. So anytime price or price bars have a background of blue, that means you should only be a buyer. Now, does that mean you just simply buy at the market? No, it means that you're looking for buy setups. So do you see now how, looking back, I don't care what someone says in a chat room or what the institutions are doing or what the volume is or what the full moon is. It makes no difference. If price has a blue background in the buy zone, you're only going to be looking for buy setups. Now, it doesn't have to be my strategy or my technique. It can be one of yours, but you will automatically increase your odds for consistency if you apply this simple tool. Now, obviously, if price has a reddish orange background, well, that's the sell zone, and you only want to be a seller. It's that simple, but this simple tool will keep you out of so much trouble and will get you on the right side of the market for the overall trend, okay? All right, so that was our next step, step number 3. Now we're only going to trade signals that have a steep upward sloping buy-sell line, all right? Because it's not just enough to know what side to be on. We want some momentum behind us. Remember I said that one of the highlights of this strategy is that it's designed to capture quick momentum. So we need some movement behind us. It would be similar to someone wanting to go sailing in the ocean. Now it's great to have a boat and have a really expensive and top of the line state of the art boat with you that you can go sailing with. But if there's no breeze, if there's no wind, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to have to turn on the motor, or you're just going to have to sit there and wait. It's the same way with trading. It's great to have a great trading plan or great strategy, but if there's no momentum, most likely you're not going to get anywhere with your trading. You might get whipsawed. So we need to find out that we have a little bit of momentum, that we have some wind at our backs. How do we do that? By finding out what the slope is of the buy-sell line. So if we look back, we see that at this point, the buy-sell line is basically just going sideways, so it's kind of flatlining. But right here, we start to slope upwards. That's what we're looking for. So we know that from roughly this point to this point is where we want to look for a signal, okay? Because this is going to enable us to go down the river with a nice current at our back, all right? We have a nice momentum behind us. Now we go to the last step. This is how easy it is. Click on strategy number 4 in the upper green strategy tab. So here we go back to this green strategy tab. We click on strategy number 4. We see how simple we make it for you. The drop-down menu appears, and this time you simply hit signal arrow. These are for educational purposes only. Now remember, in the beginning, you'll have to look at this in the beginning to check your work, but later on, as you become a student and you've really understood the process behind strategy 4, you won't even have to do this. You'll know automatically if a valid signal has been generated. And look at this. We have a nice upward slope, and in this area in which we wanted to find a signal, a buy signal was generated a good 2 weeks before that big upward move. Okay? This is the way trading is meant to be. It's not meant to wait for the news to come out and try to figure out if it's good or bad, and then by the time you figure it out, it's gapped up 10 points, or waiting to see what some guy says in the chat room. Take it from someone who did that 40 years ago. It doesn't work. In other words, it'll work every once in a while, but most of the time it doesn't, and you'll have not a lot to show for it. It's much better if you learn to listen to only one thing and take your signals from only one thing. That's the chart right in front of you. Now, everything I've shared with you is just the chart telling us what it wants to do. And strategy 4 is not some convoluted strategy that's based on these tons of indicators. It's very simple 5-rule strategy that really just looks for a pattern. The only indicator we use is the buy-sell line. So we're just learning how to listen to the market. We're not putting our impressions or our ideas of what we think the market's going to do. We would never trade that way. If the market wants to go up, it's in the buy zone. If it wants to go down, it's in the red zone. It's that simple. Then we look for this pattern if we have a nice upward slope. Now, I want to show you here about consistency. This is what I meant earlier. There was a sell signal that was generated here. We were in the sell zone, and it was a valid sell signal according to the pattern. But why would we have not taken that? Because in order to sell, guess what? We would have had to have a downward slope in the buy-sell line. And look at the slope. It's basically going sideways to up a little higher. So that right away was the market telling us that even though the pattern requirements have been met, the momentum is not there. So don't take that trade, and you wouldn't have lost any money. All right. Step number 1, let's look at some more setups. Choose the market you're interested in selling. All right, once again, looking at Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS. In hindsight, gosh, sure, anyone would have loved to sold this or gotten out of this, okay? But how could we have listened to the market rather than listening to some guy telling us that, well, we are so oversold here, you've got to buy it. We made a bounce at this oversold level, and then when we made the second bounce, it wasn't confirmed. So we have a divergence here, so you've got to buy on this next sell-off, and then look what happens, right? Sound familiar to anyone? It would have been much easier if you just listened to the market. So step 2 is click on the buy-sell line in the upper green strategy tab. Once you do that, that drop-down menu will appear, and in this case, we want to click on Fluid. Once again, this is our new feature, and it automatically tells us the buy zone and the sell zone. So was there any reason to be buying DKS this entire time? Absolutely not. So even if you didn't take a trade, you automatically know just by using this simple feature that I shouldn't be buying this. So if you want to invest in anything or trade something, all you have to do is click on the fluid feature and it's right there for you. Okay? So you'll know, oops, I guess I shouldn't be buying that. I won't buy it until it goes into the buy zone. That's how simple trading it is. You don't have to figure out what the earnings are going to be. You don't have to figure out what some guy's saying on TV. It's right there in front of you. The market is telling you it wants to go lower. You don't have to figure out if something's overbought or oversold. Take it from someone who tried to figure that out and it didn't work, okay? So I was lucky enough for my mentors to teach me these things, and now I put them all together with Pro Trader Strategies on a very simple to use platform. All right, so we know that we should have always been at least out of the market or selling short dicks going back months. So step 3, only trade signals that have a very steep downward sloping buy-sell line. Well, if we look at this slope has been very steep to the downside the entire time. Could we have taken advantage of getting short anywhere up here before that big gap? Well, all we want to do is find and see if we could have shorted up here at the top. So we go to our last step. We click on strategy number 4 in the upper green strategy tab. Remember, once again, when you learn this, you won't need to check your work. But for right now, since we're beginning and we're showing you this process, you would simply click this on, click on signal arrow, and the arrows automatically appear. Look at all the chances you had to short this. Where most people lost money, they're trying to pick a bottom. You're simply swimming with the current at your back, okay? It's a lot easier to make money to be consistent with the current at your back. And look at the nice sell signals you had here at the very top. All right, so now we know the process. It's a simple 4-step process with the aid of using our new PTS charting platform. Very simple, very easy. And remember, we're not just simply saying, just click on these buttons and you'll know what to do, because that would go entirely against our philosophy. We're not, a systematic company, or we don't want you to simply, click on the arrows and do whatever they say. We don't believe in that. We teach you what to look for, so that ultimately you really won't even have to use the signal arrows in the end. But in the beginning, we want to show you how simple it is, how the learning process has been made so much more simple with our new PTS Primo charting platform. All right, let's look at Cisco CSCO. We see here that we were going steadily up, and then we had a really nice gap up. Well, as we see, if we had applied the buy-sell line, starting at this point, we had a really nice upward slope. So how could we have bought anywhere around this level? Well, we click on the strategy 4 tab, and we see here that we had 2 very nice signals. In fact, this last one was a good 4 days before the big jump. We had no idea the stock was going to jump like that. So why would we have bought it? Because the market was telling us. We didn't have to, listen to some guy in a chat room. The market was telling us it wanted to go higher. That's the only thing you have to listen to. Now right here, the market was telling us it wanted to go lower. But look at the momentum. Flat to almost down, so you wouldn't have taken that signal. How about HI? Okay, once again, up, kind of sideways, and then up again. Well, we applied the fluid buy sell line, and we see at this point we had a really nice upward slope. We applied the rules to the strategy, and we had one signal here that kind of worked okay. At the very least, using our money management techniques, if you were a member of our course, you could have taken this trade and probably broken even. But these were the ones that really worked out well. You had multiple buy signals generated, and look what happened right after that. So even if this had turned into a small minor loss, this is what we mean by consistency. Let's say you had taken this trade and it turned into a small minor loss. Well, guess what? You would have made it right back if you had taken the next setup. How about HRB? Very strong move to the downside. Well, how could we have known that? Oh, well, easy to know that. You apply the buy-sell line. Well before the gap down, the market was telling you, not some guy in a chat room, but the market was telling you it wants to go lower. We had numerous closes in the sell zone. So that was telling us, at the very least, don't be long this stock. You don't have to short it, just don't be long. Now, unfortunately, the slope was going higher to flat, so there most likely were no sell signals generated here. That's okay. We're looking for signals generated with a strong downward slope, and we had plenty of chances to go short and make some money. How about SQ? Well, this thing just really took off coming into December here. Could we have taken advantage of this? Sure. We knew well in advance that majority of bars were above the buy-sell line, and well back here starting in September, coming into the end of November, we had a really strong upward slope. So that's telling us we only want to be buyers because we're in the buy zone. And secondly, there's a lot of wind at our back. There's a lot of current behind us. So boy, this is prime area to go long. Now we just want to look for the pattern, and look at all the patterns that were generated. Now at this point, we had a couple of buy setups and a couple of sell setups. Which ones would we have taken? See, this is where a lot of strategies and methods are always in conflict, because they'll generate multiple signals going in opposite directions. That's the beauty of the fluid buy-sell line. If you're taking a buy signal, you want this to be going, the buy-sell line to be sloping upwards. If you're taking a sell signal, you want it to be sloping downwards. Well, which direction are we sloping? We're sloping sideways to higher, so there's no reason to take these sell signals. Absolutely none. And we saved you a lot of money. Now, had you not taken these buys here because you thought we wanted to slope a little higher, that's okay. You would have waited and you would have had much more opportunity later on. NTES, okay, basically this stock was doing nothing, and then it gapped up, kind of went sideways for a week or two, and then gapped up even more. Could we have taken advantage of this? Well, sure. We applied the buy-sell line, and we knew well in advance that we should only be buyers. Even when we were going sideways, in this sideways action here for a good part of October, where was price? In the sell zone? No, it was in the buy zone. So even though we're going sideways, what's the market telling us? That most likely it wants to go higher. There's no reason to listen to anybody or anything else. The market's telling you it wants to go higher. Okay. Now, even though it wants to go higher, there's no momentum behind it because the line is flat. So we want to wait till we get to this real nice, strong upward sloping area. And here it is right here. So did we generate any signals in this area? Well, yes, we did. We, in fact, generated one 2 days before that nice move up. All right. Did we have any idea? Are these signals based on fundamental news or earnings or announcements? No, they're only based off a specific pattern, what the market's telling us. Now, as you can see here, another signal was generated here. Most likely, we would not have taken that because it's just based off the pattern. But the momentum is what we're looking for. Now, HSIC, someone looking at this would have said, gosh, Steve, I've lost so much money trading this. You know, it started to go up here and then it fell out of bed, but it looks like it's making a nice base here. The chat room I go to says that this is a major Fibonacci support. And every time it bounced, it got hit again. How could I have known this? To see how every decision you're making is based off of an outside source, off conventional wisdom that really shows no levels of consistency. Much better to apply the buy-sell line, which tells you what the market wants to do. You knew well in advance that the market wanted to go lower. Sure, you have maybe one up day, but then it closed right back down again. That's not enough to tell us that we're going higher, okay? Do you see how simple this is? There's nothing you have to do but apply the fluid buy-sell line. And at the same time, the slope is very strong to the downside. So could we have taken advantage of this? Well, sure. Look at all the sell signals. You think these couple of sell signals here at the top could have helped you? These other ones, they're sure there would have been some minor losses here, some whipsaws, but then you would have made it back. Perhaps you would have broken even or maybe lost here, but look at the next signal, made it all back. That's what consistency looks like. WMT, okay? Kind of going lower, and all of a sudden it kicked up to the upside, slowly going up, and then really moves to the upside. Could we have taken advantage of this? Sure we could have. At this point here in early to mid-October, the market was telling us it wants to go higher, and the slope is very strong. So we look for buy signals, and there were two great signals right here at the bottom of that pullback before we took off. Here was a sell signal, but once again, with our mentoring, we could tell you not to take this because what's the direction of the slope? The slope is going up. You don't want to take that. Now, a lot of people say, well, Steve, how about news, though? Doesn't news get in the way? Well, sure, you never know if a news event is going to help you or not. But it's been my experience since I've started using these techniques that were taught to me by my mentors that oftentimes you're on the right side of the news because the market usually knows what it wants to do ahead of the news if you listen to the market. The reason why you're caught off guard with news events so many times because you're listening to the wrong things. You're listening to information that has no consistency, and most of the time it'll put you on the wrong side. Let me show you what we mean here. Just about less than a month ago, about 3 weeks ago, Wild Wings soared. The stock, Buffalo Wild Wings, went up 25% in takeover talk. Okay, so the stock took off after the close. The BWLD, it was reported that it was being looked to being bought out for $2.3 billion, and the shares of the chicken wings and sports bar franchise surged nearly 25% on that news. Okay, so someone looking at this would say, you know, boy, I was thinking of selling this stock. There was absolutely nothing, and I'm glad I didn't because look at this thing. It just took off. Here's the news that came out that day. There's no way you would have known that anything was going on, right? Well, listen, we don't follow the news. It's not a requirement of any of our strategies. Why? Because it's too subjective. Someone can look at a news event and say it's terrible and the stock goes up. Someone can say it's great news and the stock goes down. I'm sure that's happened to you before. That used to happen to me on a daily basis when I worked on the floor because I made markets in roughly 60 stocks. I would see one of the stocks I was making a market in and it would be great earnings. And I'd think, okay, boy, this stock's really going to go up today. I better really be prepared and buy some shares. And the stock would open and then go straight down. So it's very difficult to determine what it's going to do based off news. Much simpler, you'll sleep much better at night, and it's so much easier if you just listen to the market. So how do we listen to the market? Well, the first thing you do is step one, you apply the buy-sell line. So what's the market been telling us for the past month or two? It's been saying it wants to go higher. We have consistent closes above. Okay, one close back below, but then it goes right back up. So we look for the nice upward slope, and then we simply apply the pattern, which would have generated a buy signal a week or two prior to that news announcement. Now, how would this pattern have known that there was going to be a buyout? It's because the market tells you in advance what it wants to do. As you can see, two more buy signals were generated later, but the main one was right here. Remember, past performance is not indicative of future results. These are for educational purposes only. So we want you to invest wisely and don't think that every signal is going to be 2 weeks in advance of a buyout. This was just a very important way of sharing with you that we're not concerned with the news. That's why, because the market tells us many times in advance of a news announcement. Now looking at GE, we all know that GE has literally been falling out of bed for the past 6 months. Most people that have lost money have continued to hold on to positions or think that it's bottomed out, and every time it stops, they think this is the bottom. It goes lower, they buy some more, it goes lower. Well, this time it's really going to stop. Oh, okay, well, this time it really will, and it just keeps going lower and lower. And all of a sudden, a trade that you wanted to do to catch a quick bottom turns into a long-term position. All right, this is why support and resistance don't work, because look at all the support that was broken here. And this is why overbought, oversold doesn't work, because we probably have been oversold for the last 6 months. So how long are you going to continue to buy based on oversold? It's silly, okay? It's much better to listen to the market. The first way we listen to the market is apply the buy-sell line. So what's the market been telling us? It's been telling us for months it wants to go lower. Trading is not complicated. It's really simple. And we had one close above, one close back down. Three closes above. All right, so maybe it wanted to go long, but then it went right back down again. So this is, how the market, sometimes goes into indecision, but that's okay. It's anywhere from 2 to 5 closes on the buy or sell zone will tell you what it wants to do. Then you have to add some structure. So let's add our structure in the form of strategy 4. And do you think you could have done well going short GE? Now, you don't have to short the stock. I know not everyone likes to short stock. You could have at least bought puts, or even if you didn't want to trade this, don't you think this could have been a great way to keep you out of GE, to say when everyone in the world is saying, you got to buy this, it's way oversold, you could have just said, no, I'm not going to touch this until it gets into the buy zone. We look at RH right here, okay? Same thing, we're kind of going upwards to sideways, and then we have a nice gap to the upside. Well, we've been in the buy zone the entire time. We have a nice upward slope. We apply strategy 4, and once again, a week or two prior to this nice upward move, guess who was telling us it wanted to go higher? The market. BBBY, once again, another stock that's been going straight down into mid to late November. We see here that starting in January, the beginning of the year, what did the market tell us? We had consistent closes in the red zone. It's telling us, I want to go lower. Don't buy me. The only way you're going to make money is by either staying out of me or by shorting me. Unfortunately, this is not the way most traders trade. Someone looks at this and says, oh my goodness, this is so oversold, I've got to buy it, right? Buy low, sell high. Take it from someone who tried that 40 years ago. It doesn't work. It will work every once in a while, but we're talking about having a consistent method that works time over time so that, you just don't have a good year. That means you have a good 10, 20, 30, 40 years so that you're able to continue trading. Just because you have a good year doesn't really mean anything. I know tons of traders who have had phenomenal years, and guess what? Sometimes months later, they gave it all back. Everything that took them a year to make, they gave back maybe in a month or two. So that doesn't mean anything. What means something is a strategy or method that has longevity, something that will sustain you for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Now, how about all the sell signals you could have taken advantage of this last 11 months now in BBBY, okay? Now, there was a buy signal once again, just to be fair and transparent, but guess what? Look at the slope. The slope was going down, so you would have not been in any trouble there because the market momentum was to the downside. All right, let's look at BABA. A lot of interest in this stock because it really moves a lot. It's expensive, but that's okay. It has a lot of movement. Well, guess what? It's been above its buy-sell line for ages. So you're not going to try and sell this betting it's going to go down until we're in the sell zone. And you had tons of buy signals, some better than others, obviously, but tons are generated all along the way. So these are stocks. Let's look at futures because we know we have some intraday traders. Let's look at the E-mini on an hourly basis. Once again, we have an hourly chart here that's kind of headed higher. If we apply the buy-sell line, we see that we're kind of oscillating above and below because, you know, intraday futures, especially futures, but intraday trading, you have what we call noise. It's a lot of back and forth. But the majority of the time, we were in the buy zone. So if you click on strategy 4, look at all the buy signals. Once again, some better than others, but that's okay. Now that's on an hourly chart. We can go to a Forex chart here and once again go back to daily charts. Let's look at the Canadian dollar. Had a little bounce here. Someone would think, oh, we finally bottomed out. This was in the summer in the Canadian dollar. We've bottomed out, but look what happened September coming into October, right back down again. Well, even though we bottomed out and bounced, this is where traders get in trouble because they say, hey, you got to buy this. Look at it. It's really gone up for the last 2 weeks. It's going up. We've bottomed out. We're going to come back up, maybe up here. You don't want to miss this, right? The first thing you would have told them once you take my courses is, where is price in relation to the buy-sell line? We're in the sell zone, so I'm not going to buy anything. And I'm sure everyone would say, you're nuts. You're going to miss the bottom here, and then you're going to miss all the good movement. Well, once you learn how to listen to the market, they'll say, no, the good movement is still to come. It's to the downside. And you could have shown them by the nice sell signals that were generated during that upward move. By the way, there were also some of those sell signals were generated here too. So let's recap before we go to questions. Remember, this is a 4-step process. The first step is to choose your market. Obviously, you know, not everyone trades stocks. The good news is this can be applied, as we just showed you, to E-mini S&P trading, to currency pair trading. You can even apply it to commodities. In fact, you can apply it to the Bitcoin. It makes no difference. It makes no difference what market you're trading. Step 2, click on the buy-sell line. This is going to tell you whether you're in the buy zone or the sell zone. That makes it right off the bat, you've solved half your problems. Most traders lose because they are selling in the buy zone and buying in the sell zone. With this simple tool now at your access, you automatically know that the odds are going to be in your favor for consistency because you're on the right side. You simply click on the buy-sell line, and that's the fluid feature. Okay, the fluid feature basically tells you 2 things. It tells you whether you should be buying or selling. It doesn't tell you to buy or sell at the market. It's not a strategy. It's just giving you an indication as to what the market wants to do in the overall trend. And then it also gives you an indication as to the momentum of that overall trend. If you have a nice upward sloping buy-sell line, the momentum is to the upside. If you have a strong downward sloping buy-sell line, the momentum is to the sell side. So that's where you want to take your signals. It's just about any strategy or method you trade will have a higher probability for success if you have that nice upward or downward sloping buy-sell line, okay? But if you're using our platform, well, obviously you want to use our most consistent strategy, and that's strategy 4. You just click on that, and that will verify whether a signal was generated in that very momentous area, okay? Now this is all done with ease in this 4-step process. We've made it so simple for you with the help of our new PTS Primo charting platform. Remember, this is just, it's taken years and years to develop, but we make it so simple. It's not something where you just have to figure out how to load a chart and you're sitting there and going like, okay, where do I get the signals down? What's the plan again? It's so simple. I've gone to other platforms. I've gone and used other technologies before, and boy, I can't even figure out sometimes how to load a chart. That was my goal in constructing the PTS Primo charts with ProTrader strategies, in that our philosophy was this has to be as simple as possible. It makes no use if this is so complicated, because then no one's going to be able to apply it to their trading. So here's the special attendee discount we're going to be offering all of you today. And this is a really great discount to get your trading on track for 2018. We're going to offer you, obviously, strategy number 4. We're going to give you instant course access. This comes with instruction, 15 course videos. It's an online course. You're also going to get educational mentoring correspondence with myself. So it's not just something that you have to figure out and hope you can understand it online. You'll also be able to correspond with me through email whenever you like if you have a question or if something doesn't make sense. Remember, this works on all markets and all time frames. So don't get fooled just because we had a bias towards stocks. It doesn't matter. I use it with my intraday E-mini trading. So that's how useful this is. So this is going to be a great offer we're giving you today, but let me just share with you that we're not stopping there. We're also going to throw in 6 months of use with the new PTS Primo charting platform for free. Now normally 6 months would cost you nearly $900 with our platform. You're getting all of this free for 6 months. So you'll be able to apply that 4-step process. But we're not stopping there with the platform. Let me show you what's included. You're just not going to get strategy number 4. Let me show you what's included with our new PTS Primo charts. You're going to get the strategy with all the indicators and all that included, as well as the up and down arrows. You're going to get short-term trend identifiers that come on the platform on that green strategy tab I shared with you. If you look real closely here, you'll see that this is the green strategy tab with all the different indicators and techniques and strategies. We're also including 2 entry techniques. These are great tools to help you fine-tune your entries. Many students of ours say, Steve, I love the strategies, I love your methods, but I have a couple of strategies that I trade that work pretty well too. It's just that my entries are pretty faulty. They don't work very well. Sometimes they get me in too early, sometimes they get me in too late. Well, these entry techniques are fine-tuned to have you entering at the precise time. So that's going to be included with our 6 months of the platform. You're going to get the signal scanner, which I'll talk about in just a second. Over 90 technical indicators. So if you like to tinker under the hood and experiment, you get over 90 indicators you can have immediate access to. And we know that we have a technical bias. So just for all the people that like to look at news, even though it's not required, we're throwing in our media page that has free Bloomberg TV. So you'll be able to open up another page altogether and have live TV coming with Bloomberg. So any news announcement, any earnings, anything that's coming out, you'll be able to listen to live while you're looking at your charts. And this all comes with personalized tech support. If for any instance you don't know how to load a chart, you can't get the scanner working, you don't know where to get the list of stocks for the scanner, we'll be right there to answer any issues that you may have. Now what I want to talk about, something that's actually a pet peeve of mine, are signal scanners. As I said earlier, I've gone and used other platforms, and I'm not lying when I say this. I have struggled for hours trying to figure out how to use a scanner. Either I have to load up the correct data, or I have to get a chart and go somewhere else, and it's just so much, it's so complicated. And I don't know the logic behind why they make it so complicated just to scan on a nightly basis for signals. That's all you want to do. So let me show you how easy it is. I worked on this with Pro Trader Strategies just so that it could take you under a minute or two to scan each night for all the signals you want to see. Scanning shouldn't take 2 hours. It should take maybe a minute, and then you spend time looking at the different charts that you're interested in. This is how simple it would be. Let's say you're looking at a chart, and you're obviously trading strategy number 4. Well, in that drop-down menu, remember you have the signal arrows and the indicator. You can change the indicator settings. Click on Scan. And once you do that, another window will appear right next to your chart, and this is our scanner page. Okay, the first thing you want to do is hit load symbols that appear in the upper left hand corner. Okay, click on load symbols and you'll see a list of different baskets of different stocks, ETFs, currency pairs, most gainers of that day or highest gainers, largest losers, things of that nature, S&P 500. Click that on whatever basket and whatever data you want will automatically be displayed. You just choose which one you want, which index, and in probably less than a minute, you'll see all of the stocks in that basket or that index appear. Okay. Once that appears, since it already knows you're looking at strategy 4, you just click on Scan. And in probably less than 10 seconds, you'll see a series of either green or red bars on the far right. What does this mean? Well, if you see a green tab highlighted, that means that's a buy signal in that particular stock, and just scroll over to the left and see that there was one issued here. If you see a red one, well, that's a sell signal. That's how simple it is. And then all you have to do is click on that green or red highlighted tab and a chart will automatically appear. And you click on the strategies, once again, that you're interested in, and the arrows will appear. This process probably takes less than 2-3 minutes tops. And you can see each night whether you want to take a signal or not, whether or not it meets your parameters. Once again, you're a member of the course, so you know where the entry will be. You'll know where your stop placement is and where your exits are. So you can decide right off there, do I want to trade this tomorrow or not? That's how simple it is. That's how trading should be. And these are all here for educational purposes to help you make your own decisions. Remember, these are not systems. These are not strategies. Each one should trade differently. In other words, some traders like to trade them conservatively, so we give you different entry points. Some traders like to trade aggressively because they want to get in and out more. They want more action, so we give you aggressive entry points. Some traders like to get in and out quickly because they don't have a lot of time, so we give you different variables for exiting. Some like to stand and get as much bang for your buck, so we give you different exit points. That's the beauty of what we teach here. We're just a teacher trying to supply you with information so that you can be in charge of your trading, not us. So we're throwing in the strategy number 4 special, which includes 6 months of the PTS charting platform free. Now, guess what? We're at the end of the year. I've been saying this for like the last 2 months that we're almost at the end of the year. Well, we've only got like 2 weeks left. And there's not going to be a lot of trading left. And I don't think, if you've had a very tough year, I don't think you're going to be able to make back what you've lost this year in the remaining 2 weeks. But you can start out 2018 in the right direction. So you owe it to yourself to be a member of this course. In fact, a year from today, you will have wished you took this course because it'll be the end of 2018. And if you don't take action, you'll most likely be even worse off than where you are right now, okay? I'm not saying this to scare you, and I'm not saying this because I have proof. I'm not guaranteeing it. But for trading for 40 years, I hear this every year. And I was like this when I first started out myself. I didn't think I was going to be trading much longer because I couldn't make ends meet. But everything I teach in my courses, everything I've shown you today was taught to me by my mentors. And I believe that's what has allowed me to be trading for not only 20, 30 years, but for 40 years now. So hopefully you'll be able to start out 2018 in the right direction and be able to really be consistent going forward. So here's what we're offering you. The strategy number 4 course plus 6 months free PTS Primo charts. And as a bonus, we're including the scanner. So that comes exactly with that. Now this would normally cost you roughly about $1,600, $1,700. This is discounted down to $995, but we're also including for a limited time payment plans. So you don't even have to come up with $995. You can come up with a small deposit and still be up and running, okay? And just have a structured payment plan with Pro Trader Strategies. That's how simple it is to get in charge of your trading and to get back on board. So let me show you how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. They handle all of our courses and all of our discounts and all of our correspondence in terms of making some type of payment plan. You can email them, but I would suggest the best thing is to call them, 310-598-6677. Any questions about a payment plan or discounts or exactly what you get on the platform or strategy 4, they can answer for you over the phone, no obligation at all, okay? Now that link you see at the very bottom there is the link that takes you automatically to the sign up, gives you a little bit more information, but it's not a live link. So all you have to do is go to the chat box on the far right hand corner, and they've just posted a live link. So that's where you click that on, and it'll automatically take you to the sign up page or for more information, okay? So I'll leave this information up here. As I promised you, I would spend the last 10 or 15 minutes answering any questions. So let's see here. People are asking, can we show how to scan one more time? Okay, if you don't mind me backtracking, let me just scan here one last time. I'm going to go back and show you how simple it is, okay? Okay. Obviously, you're going to be a member of the Strategy 4 course. So you're looking at a chart, and let's say you click on the Strategy 4 tab, and you want to see where the signals are. Now, that night, you come home from work. Let's say you're not able to be in front of your computer all day long. So that night, you come home from work, you'll click on a chart, you'll click on Strategy number 4, and this tab will appear, all right? All you want to do is click on Scan. Once you click that on, this window will appear. This is a page that's next to your chart. You see Apple, we were looking at Apple, okay? You just click on Load Symbols, and we provide you with whatever symbol list you're looking for. This can be top ETFs, it can be S&P 100, it can be NASDAQ 100, it can be currency pairs, it can be a basket of stocks that you like to look on a nightly basis, say like 20 stocks you're interested in. And in less than 30 seconds, you'll see a list appear, okay? Once this appears, then the only thing you have to do is click on Scan right here. Click this on, and it automatically knows to scan for strategy number 4 signals. If you see a green highlight on the right, well, that's telling you it's a buy signal in that corresponding stock to the left. If you see a red bar highlighted, that's telling you that's a sell signal in the corresponding stock. And then it's just as simple as clicking on these tabs one by one, and you'll see the charts appear and you can apply the arrows. That's how easy, and once again, this process will probably take you less than 2 minutes to look at everything and have everything right there, okay? So does that make sense? I know some people were asking about that. That's how simple it is. It's really easy, and scanning is something you can do on your own. I know a lot of the times we were providing signals for people, but we thought, with our platform, let's create a scanner so that everyone can get the signals on their own, and then they can decide what they like as the best signal. Some people like to look for only stocks that are less than $10, $15. Other people like to look for the high flyers, the ones that are $100, maybe $150. Okay, so let's give you the power to do your own scanning on a nightly basis and decide for yourself. Now, some setups are better than others. Some, have that downward slope, some have that upward slope. So if you're still confused about it, guess what? You have someone that's been trading these for 40 years that will answer any question you may have. So all you have to do after you've scanned and you've looked through the stocks that you're interested in is you can email me and ask me what I think of that and ask me to look at this particular stock or setup, because you're now a student of mine and a member of the course. So we put everything in your hands so that you ultimately will know how to make your own decisions, okay? So that's the process. Let me just go forward and once again leave this information. Scanning is really, really simple. As I said earlier, I have a pet peeve with scanners because, trust me, before platforms even came out, I was trying to scan stuff and it was so difficult. Then when the first platform came out, the scanning process was just so convoluted and so antiquated. But as platforms got more and more sophisticated, for some reason the scanning process still stayed antiquated. So that was our goal with Pro Trader Strategies and myself, to make it as simple as possible so that you can just go one place at night, scan, and in a few minutes decide if you want to buy or sell tomorrow, and you know the rules. Remember, it is not a process the way you've gone to other webinars where you don't know why you're buying or selling. You're just doing it because you figure, well, this guy knows what he's talking about, so I guess I'll do it. It goes entirely against our belief at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. We are first and foremost an educational company. All we're trying to do is educate you. And someone would say, well, why do you want to educate us? The reason is because you can't make your own decisions unless you're educated. And that's why most traders don't make their own decisions, because they say, well, it's too hard for me to figure out how to do it, so I'm going to let this guy tell me what to buy or sell, or I'll let this system tell me what to buy or sell. You owe it to yourself to be educated and to make your own decisions. Now, it's not as hard as you've seen. I know a lot of people are frightened to become educated because they think, well, do I have to have a degree in economics? Do I have to know everything there are about earnings and all this kind of fundamental news? No, we make it simple. You've just seen a 4-step process. I don't think it gets any simpler than that. And everything is just one click away. So as I stated just a few minutes ago, you really owe this to yourself to start off 2018 in the right direction. So take advantage of this deep discount. Remember, this is usually what you're getting. This package would roughly cost $1,600, $1,700. It's discounted down to $995, but we've even helped you out with that. If you don't want to come up with that one lump sum, you can still put down a small deposit and be up and running ASAP. So we have payment plans for you as well, okay? So take advantage of this. As we close here, remember, contact Pro Trader Strategies. If you have any more questions, or if you happen to have a question after we've concluded, don't worry, you can always email them. Probably the best thing would be to call them at the number right there, and they'll answer any question, no obligation, and just get you on the right track and structure a payment plan for you so that you can just put down a small deposit and you can be up and running and be my student the very next day, or even that day as well. Okay, so you won't miss anything coming around the corner. As we conclude, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you see that our intent is simply to educate you and try and make it as simple as possible. I think in this presentation we showed you how simple it is to become a consistent trader when you finally learn how to listen to the market. So that's our goal, to teach you how to listen to the market, and our strategies do that, especially Strategy 4, and most especially our platform does that, the PTS Primo charting platform. So this is a great opportunity to take advantage of both for a real deeply discounted price, okay? In conclusion, I want to say thank you so much. Please give Pro Trader Strategies a call, and I look forward to all of you becoming students and members of mine in the Strategy 4 course and in the PTS Primo charting platform. Thank you so much. Remember, these examples are for educational purposes. I wish you the best of luck trading. Bye-bye.